In modern-day Berlin, a young robotics student and a biology student begin to experience impossible changes. Sharper vision, stronger bodies, and hearing that reaches beyond normal limits. They don't know why it's happening, until a mysterious elderly monk appears with a warning about an ancient prophecy and a hunter from the stars. As the city's nights grow tense and signs of an approaching threat multiply, the two students are forced to choose. Ignore the call, or train until their awakening becomes strong enough to protect everyone they love. Chapter 1. Strange Signals in Berlin. I was there the night Berlin felt too quiet, like the city was holding its breath. That he was 22, a robotics student who lived on coffee, code, and stubborn hope. His days were spent in a university lab, building machines that could lift, sort, and learn. He believed progress was something you earned with patience. She was 20, a biology student with quick hands and a sharper mind. She studied living systems the way others studied art, always looking for patterns that most people missed. They knew each other from campus, not as a couple, not even as close friends at first, but as two people who respected hard work. That changed when the impossible started. That IT began small. On a crowded U-Bahn platform, he flinched like someone had shouted his name, but nobody had. He looked around, confused, then whispered that he could hear a conversation across the tracks, clearly word for word. She tried to laugh it off until she realized she could hear it too. Later, in the biology lab, she leaned into a microscope and froze. Her vision sharpened beyond the lenses. She pulled back and stared across the room, reading tiny labels on distant vials as if they were inches away. Then came the strength. On a rainy street near campus, a metal barrier tipped over during roadwork. Without thinking, he caught it one-handed. The weight should have crushed his wrist. Instead, it felt like lifting a backpack. For a second, a faint glow shimmered around his skin, like heat rising off asphalt. He saw her staring. She saw it too. They didn't talk about destiny. They talked about stress, sleep, and the brain playing tricks. But Berlin's night sky that week didn't look normal. The stars seemed arranged, too aligned, like a message written in light. Chapter 2. The Monk and the Prophecy. They met the monk in the university library. In a corner most students ignored. He looked about 60, calm eyes, quiet steps, the kind of presence that made you lower your voice without knowing why. He sat across from them like he had been expected. "I know what is happening to you," he said, and placed an old parchment on the table. The paper showed star maps, symbols, and a sketch of Earth surrounded by a spiral mark. The monk explained in plain words, without drama, which somehow made it more frightening. They were not ordinary humans. Long ago, an ancient human lineage lived on a distant planet. That world was destroyed. A few bloodlines escaped, scattered, and hid among Earth's people. Their abilities stayed latent, buried under time, waiting for a trigger. That trigger was not random. "A hunter is coming," the monk said. "A machine shaped like a young man. Cold. Exact. He wiped out your original world. Now he wants to erase the last living traces of your lineage. You." They argued at first. They demanded proof. The monk didn't raise his voice. He simply told them things nobody should have known. Details about their childhood dreams of unfamiliar skies, the strange symbol they both had seen in different places, the shared feeling of being homesick for somewhere they had never been. Then he pointed to the star alignment outside. "It was written," he said. "When the stars return to that pattern, your powers wake. Not to impress you, to prepare you." "Prepare us for what?" she asked. "To protect Earth," he answered. "To protect everyone who doesn't even know they need protecting." The robotics student's hands tightened into fists. The biology student swallowed hard, but her eyes didn't drop. The monk leaned forward. "Fear is natural, but quitting is a choice, and you do not have the luxury of that choice." Chapter 3. Training until it hurts. They trained in places Berlin forgot, early mornings in parks, empty warehouses, tunnels that echoed with every breath. The monk did not teach them flashy moves. He taught them discipline. First came control. Superhearing was a curse if it couldn't be narrowed. At the beginning, the city's noise slammed into their minds. Footsteps, engines, distant arguments behind apartment walls. The monk had them stand still and breathe until they could choose what to hear and what to silence. Then came vision. She practiced focusing far, then near, then through distractions. Her eyes would sting, and she would want to stop. The monk would say, again, "Not because you enjoy pain, but because you refuse weakness." Strength was harder. Every time he pushed his limits, his body reacted. His muscles tightened and grew denser. as if responding to a command older than thought. A vibrant aura appeared around him, bright and alive, and it made the air feel charged. But the power came with cost: shaking legs, aching bones, exhaustion that felt like gravity had doubled. She changed too. When she drew deeply on her abilities, a golden shimmer outlined her form. Her posture became stronger, her movements cleaner. She could feel her body adapting, like biology rewriting itself in real time. They failed constantly at first. They overreached. They collapsed. They argued point one night, after a brutal session. She sat on the warehouse floor and admitted, quietly, that she was scared of what they were becoming. He looked at his hands, still faintly glowing, and said something that stayed with me. "I'm scared too. But if I can become more than my fear, then maybe fear isn't the end of the story." The monk nodded once. That is the first real victory. Chapter 4. The Hunter Arrives. It arrived like a silent disaster. A streak of light cut across Berlin's sky near the Fernsehturm. Too fast for aircraft, too controlled for a meteor. The next day, the monk led them to an industrial riverside where the air felt wrong, metallic and cold. The android stepped from the shadows with the face of a 20-year-old man and eyes that held no warmth. It looked human until it moved, each motion perfect, measured, like a blade being drawn. It spoke without anger. That was the worst part. "You are the remaining anomaly," it said. "Your existence threatens the order." The biology student's hearing caught something underneath the words. A faint internal hum, like a reactor. The robotics student's mind raced, recognizing patterns in the android's movement like a machine learning model that had already predicted every outcome. The monk stood behind them and spoke softly. "This is why you trained. Not to win applause. To stand when everything in you says to run." Their auras flickered to life, brighter than ever. The air around them rippled. The android tilted its head, calculating. For the first time, they didn't feel like students pretending to be brave. They felt like people choosing purpose. The android raised its hand. Symbols glowed across metal that looked like skin. Energy gathered, red and sharp, and Berlin, unaware, kept living. Trains moved. Lights changed. People laughed in cafes. The world had no idea how close it was to ending. Chapter 5. Battle at the Bridge. The fight drove them toward the Oberbaum Bridge, where the river cut through the city like a dark mirror. The android attacked with speed that blurred. Concrete cracked. Sparks jumped from twisted metal. The robotic student took the first direct hit and slid across wet pavement. He forced himself up, aura flaring blue, muscles swelling with the effort. Every instinct screamed to protect his own body, but something deeper pushed him forward. The biology student moved like focus made physical. Her supervision tracked the smallest shifts in the android's stance. She shouted timing and angles, guiding him away from strikes that would have shattered bone. They fought like they studied. He analyzed mechanics and force. She read patterns and weaknesses. Different disciplines, one purpose. The monk's voice cut through the chaos. Together, not side by side, together, they synchronized their breathing. Their auras steadied, then surged. The blue and gold light met and pushed outward, forming a wave that bent the air. The android staggered for the first time. The biology student narrowed her gaze. "The core," she said, voice tight. "Chest." The robotics student nodded. He tore a steel beam free from nearby wreckage, strength roaring through him. His aura burned brighter, and his body grew heavier with power, as if his bones had become pillars that he didn't swing with rage. He swung with commitment. They struck in a single, united moment, her precision, his force, both fueled by a decision that fear would not drive them anymore. The light burst. The bridge trembled, and for a heartbeat, the city's noise disappeared, replaced by a ringing silence. Chapter 6. Dawn, Discipline, and a Shadow That Remains. By sunrise, Berlin looked the same from a distance. But up close, the marks of the night were real. Scorched stone, broken metal, and two young people who no longer felt like their old selves. Their auras faded to faint outlines, like embers after a fire. They stood with exhaustion on their faces and something stronger underneath it, direction. The monk spoke quietly. "You did not become saviors in a night. You became the kind of people who keep showing up." The robotics student opened his hand. Inside was a fractured piece of alien metal, small enough to hide, but heavy with meaning. It pulsed once, barely visible, like a heartbeat that didn't belong to any living thing. The biology student stared at it, uneasy. "If that's still active," the monk didn't answer directly. He only said, "Evil does not always end cleanly. Sometimes it retreats. Sometimes it learns." Weeks later, they returned to campus, but they weren't the same students. He built protective devices with the patience of someone who had seen what failure could cost. She studied biological adaptation with the intensity of someone who had felt her own body rewrite its limits. And somewhere, in a dark piece of wreckage hidden from the public eye, a faint red light flickered back on. Not bright, not loud, but real. They looked out over Berlin from a rooftop at sunrise, shoulders squared, breathing steady, ready to train again, because motivation is not a feeling. It's a decision you repeat until it becomes who you are. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications so you don't miss the next episode, and hit like to support more motivational sci-fi stories. Comment what you think the prophecy truly means, and share this video with someone who loves action, discipline, and epic hero journeys.